Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be watching the Steve Allen interview with Bob Dylan. I believe this was from 1964. So before we jump in, I have a bit of background that I'm going to share with you and then we could watch. In early 1964, Bob Dylan was just 22 years old and beginning to move from the folk revival scene into wider public awareness. Around this time, he was gaining a reputation not only as a songwriter, but as a kind of poet whose lyrics carried weight far beyond the usual boundaries of popular music. Television talk shows in that era often brought on rising cultural figures, and Dylan's appearance on The Steve Allen Show is one of the earliest times many viewers outside the folk community saw him on national TV. The moment captures how Dylan was being introduced to a mainstream audience, framed less as a pop star and more as someone with literary and artistic significance. So let's give that a little watch. I will scooch out of the way over here, sir, and we can watch it. And I'll try my best to not block your view.
Out this young man who is, as I have said before, quite an unusual performer. I'm going to tell you about him, and then before he actually sings, we're going to permit your local station to have a moment with you. This young man was born in Duluth, Minnesota, but spent most of his early years in Hibbing. He started playing the guitar when he was just a child of 10, but he says it didn't do him too much good in high school. He says the only trouble with playing guitar is you don't get cheerleader girls. He is now one of the most sought-after folk artists of the present day. I'll show you two of his albums. Here is one titled, as you can see, The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. And he's one of those performers who seems to somehow be taken to the hearts of the young people who see him, the high school age, college age people. They somehow seem to identify with him or with parts of him or part of what he does. Here's another one of his albums.
So gangster.
See, the times they are a-changin'. Bob Dylan. I'll introduce you to this young man, this very interesting young man, personally, if you'll come back in 120 seconds.
Amazing. That's such a good cover. So gangster. I can't do it. Thank you very much.
We ordinarily, in introducing entertainers, just to say a few words about their accomplishments, tell you where they're working currently, and say, here he is, and we point to them when they go into their act. But I thought it would be instructive in this instance to tell you a bit about this young man. I've already told you that he's from Minnesota. He is primarily a poet. He's a very popular entertainer now, but I think one of the reasons for his popularity is that he has the mind of a poet. I'm going to quote a few words about him by Ralph Gleason, music, jazz critic. And Mr. Gleason is not an easy man to please.
Is he smirking?
But he says this about Bob Dylan.
He might be.
He talks about a particular concert up in the Berkeley, California area. A concert in which Joan Baez appeared with Bob Dylan. He says, together the two sang a group of songs, including With God on Our Side and Blowin' in the Wind, and for the first time the true message of the latter song came through to this listener. Genius makes its own rules, and Dylan is a genius, a singing conscience and moral referee, as well as a preacher. He's also a very embarrassed young man now because it's always embarrassing to sit there with your feet in cement while somebody compliments you either casually or lavishly. But I've been reading a number of stories about Bob this afternoon, and they are all of that order. A comment in Billboard, the trade publication, says, Dylan's poetry is born of a painful awareness of the tragedy that underlies the contemporary human condition. Bob, do you sing partly your own songs and partly other people's, or where do you get your material?
Well, they're all mine now.
You sing all your own material. And how long have you been writing your own music?
For about 2 years.
Just 2 years?
7 years before that, but I quit writing. And I started copying for about 2 or 3 years between.
What do you mean by the word copying in this context?
Well, I quit writing and started singing, you know, what other people had written.
Oh, I see. I think it might be interesting for the audience if I quote a word or two of one of your poems. I'm reading from the back of the jacket of one of Bob's albums. It says, "The town I was born in holds no memories, but..."
He's very polite, but then like at the same time, like there's a lot of like he's a little bit irreverent. And you know, he's still young, so I guess he's probably finding his footing. I really can't say. He's on somebody's show, so clearly he'd be polite, right? But it's just so interesting to see his facial expressions, his mannerisms, and how he answers things. It's really cool.
Reading from the back of the jacket of one of Bob's albums. It says, "The town I was born in holds no memories, but for the honking foghorns, the rainy mist, and the rocky cliffs. I've carried no feelings up past the Lake Superior hills. The town I grew up in is the one that's left me with my legacy visions. It was not a rich town. My parents were not rich. It was not a poor town. My parents were not poor. It was a dying town. It was a dying town. A train line cuts the ground, showing where the fathers and mothers of me and my friends had picked up and moved from North Hibbing to South Hibbing. Old North Hibbing, deserted, already dead, with its old stone courthouse decaying in the wind, long abandoned, windows crashed out, and broken walls being smothered in clinging moss." Just a few lines of
Beautiful.
by Bob Dylan. Bob, what are you going to sing for us now?
Beautiful.
A song that's on there, The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll.
The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll. What's the story of this song?
The story I took out of the newspaper, and I only changed the words.
Change the words?
Yeah, I changed the words.
I don't understand. You took a story out of a
Yeah,
newspaper.
it's a true story,
Oh, I see.
and it happened in Maryland.
What
And,
words did you change? I still don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I changed the reporter's view into, I used it. I used it for something that I wanted to say, and I used his view, the many reporters' view, to get at what I wanted to say and turn it that way. And I used a true story, that's all. I could have used a made-up story.
Was the story, I mean, the actual incident, did it concern someone named Hattie Carroll?
Yeah.
I see. Do you want to tell us about that incident, or would you rather do that by means of a song?
Well, I could tell you about it. I could sing about it. I could do anything. If I talked about it, I would talk about it for a very long time. If I sung about it, it would only take as long as the song would last.
I see. Well, I imagine the song tells its own story. Here it is.
It was such a good answer.
Williams and Singer killed poor Hattie Carroll with a cane that he twirled round his diamond ring finger at a Baltimore hotel society gathering. And the cops were called in and his weapon took from him as they rode him in custody down to the station and booked Williams and Singer for first-degree murder. And you who philosophize disgrace and criticize all fears, take the rag away from from your face. Now ain't the time for your tears.
Go, Bob. It's really good live.
Williams and Singer, who at 24 years owns a tobacco farm of 600 acres, with rich, wealthy parents who provide and protect him, and high office relations in the government of Maryland, reacted to his deed with a shrug of his shoulders and swear words and sneering, and his tongue it was snarling, and in a matter of minutes on bail was out walking. And you who philosophize disgrace and criticize all fears, take the rag away from your face. Now ain't the time for your tears. Hattie Carroll was a maid of the kitchen. She was 51 years old and gave birth to 10 children who carried the dishes and hauled out the garbage, and never sat once at the head of the table, and didn't even speak to the people at the table, who just cleaned up all the food from the table and emptied the ashtrays on a whole other level. Got killed by a blow, lay slain by a cane that sailed through the air and came down through the room, doomed and determined to destroy all the gentle, and she never done nothing to Williams and Singer. And you who philosophize disgrace and criticize all fears, take the rag away from your face. Now ain't the time for your tears. In the courtroom of honor, the judge pounded his gavel to show that all's equal and that the courts are on the level, and that the strings in the books ain't pulled and persuaded, and that even the nobles get properly handled once that the cops have chased after and caught 'em, and that the ladder of law has no top and no bottom. Stared at the person who killed for no reason, who just happened to be feeling that way without warning, and he spoke through his cloak most deep and distinguished, and handed out strongly for penalty and repentance Williams and Singer with a 6-month sentence. And you who philosophize disgrace and criticize all fears, bury the rag most deep in your face, for now's the time for your tears.
Thank you very much, Bob Dylan. The party continues in 120 seconds.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that. You know, I feel like it was really cool to see him, just this young little thing. Whoa, whoa. It was really cool to see him, just this young little thing. So I don't know, like he's incredibly confident for one, like very, very confident. It's kind of odd seeing just this very young person be so very confident and to like bring down the gavel on these issues. Like it's just weird because like to have him to, I don't know, like to put yourself up there as that person who's gonna deliver that message, that truth, is just, it's crazy. It's crazy. It was really fun to see that though. I wonder if that was it for that segment or if there was more, because if there was more, I would love to see more. And this is probably my first ever um view of an interview of Bob Dylan. I don't think I've ever seen any others, though I know that there's this the Cynthia Gooding interview, which I wanted to watch. So maybe we'll watch that. Let me know if you're interested, and we could give that a watch. I really enjoyed that. It was good to see him kind of answer those questions. It was fast, maybe a little too fast for my liking. I would like to see more back and forth between him and the host, but it's okay. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his performance. I feel like whenever I see Bob Dylan perform, it definitely deepens my connection with the music, because I don't know, seeing his like his incarnation, and also seeing how he delivers these songs, and the fact that he's playing the guitar, the harmonica, also remembering his melody and his lines is pretty awesome. So yeah, like every time I see him perform, it makes the music that I hear that much better. So that was really fun. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.